Hey everyone, Jerry here. I wanted to go over a video about how to catch a falling knife. Now, this is one of the fastest ways to blow your account unless you know exactly what you're doing. So if you're interested in learning how I trade and you want to learn how I trade in real time, we're on live sessions 9 times a week. So please click the link below, like, subscribe, follow. You know all the cool shit to do. All right. So I have a very blank chart here. I only trade one ticker, which is SPY, the S&P 500. It is the most liquid ETF traded on the market. So I want to show you, there is literally no lines on this at all. And I'm going to show you a trade that I took yesterday where I got 2 trades on it and I got stopped out on my trailers and I was able to re-enter this with on quote unquote your falling knife predicament that you get yourself into. So just for the sake of showing you this video, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this for you on the Wednesday, April 1st, right here. And now I'm going to go ahead and mark a line at the top of this swing point. And this is just for showing you guys how I establish lines. And I'm not going to color code them yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for you all. And these are a handful of ways to catch a falling knife without devastating your account on riskier trades and setups and how to stay alive in them to maximize these. So 658.45 would be our resistance. I do not have all the other key levels marked. I do not have my pre-market high or my pre-market low levels marked. I want to show you guys how to catch a falling knife and keep this very simple for you all. And then we'll go from there. So very, very clear level of resistance at 658.45. And I'm going to zoom in on this so it gets a little bit more precise, and we'll modify this accordingly in real time as price would develop, right? So clear as day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one doesn't quite touch it to the penny, right? This is very clearly your old resistance level, team, right? So you can mark the top of these bodies here, and one could say that this broke resistance at this one and then came back and failed to close it. So if you were to take this trade here, one could also argue that the top of this level up here would be a very aggressive level of support. However, this candle at 13:25 Eastern time does not break that level. And truly, there's not enough room between this candle here at 658.29 and to come to 658 flat to give you a trade, in my opinion. The draw is not enough. There's a little bit of liquidity left on this candle here, but you have the top of the swing point here, which this was resistance, so we have to anticipate it acting as support on the way back down, right? So it needs to break that structure. So this candle closes firm and below. This is your first entry. This is not the falling knife, right? This would be a very textbook A+ setup into this and a break of structure to the downside. Now, you do have a level here you should be concerned about. It's the top of this stepping point. Through this is not the top of a swing point. This is just a very, very clear level of resistance in here, right? This candle here, you could have taken this. It'd be a very assertive play. You would take this trade. The way I trade is I would be using a wider stop, and I would be setting my stop somewhere at this 658.45 and maybe a little bit higher with trading options to allow for some theta and time decay to not get eroded out of my contracts if it goes sideways, which this candle particularly did. It looks like it would have came down, maybe would have got you to 8 or 10%. You would have got stopped at break even if you did that. If you stayed alive with it and you held true to your risk management and looked for 8 to 12% on your first half of your positions, this candle here would have distributed down nicely for you. You would have got half off, 3/4 off, probably stopped somewhere. Unless you left your entries at break even, you would most likely would have stayed alive in this trade and been able to ride this whole thing down, right? So now here comes the falling knife, right? This is a big, big sell-off, and you're probably experiencing all that FOMO and all that shit that I missed a trade, and you arguably did, right? Here was a good setup. You missed it. Not a big deal. It always gives an opportunity. This trade here, firm candle closes. This could have been an entry for you. Below that, it also takes out this underlying area here at this level here. So that would probably be a more conservative, better entry, not as much drawdown. However, a really good entry all the same at 13:45. Now here comes what we want to talk about, the falling knife. So now this candle here is your falling candle. Now, if you were to set another level, and we'll do that now, and this would probably be like an underlying support area, guys. you would have a level set here. It shatters through up here. It comes down. It takes all that draw out. So one would think, especially with this candle closing past this wick here and almost coming out to this green wick to the left, that this would be a falling knife and you're susceptible to retracement. You are. However, to negate that risk, you would take this trade and you would set your stop back up here, allowing it to retest the entry area above the top of the swing point here, where it comes down. You want to protect this area here around that wick. So depending on how many positions you have, how wide and how big your risk tolerance is, the wider the stop you could use. So bam, you're in this trade. This trade's distributing very nicely down. As you can see, this would have been a really good entry, and a lot of people would argue that's a falling knife on this particular spot right here. That is not a falling knife in my opinion. This will now go, it starts to come back up, it retraces a little bit, and bam, what a beautiful move to the downside. Comes here. Now, if you are trying to enter mid-candle, that is a terrible idea, in my opinion. Some people have confluences do that. I always wait for the firm 5-minute candle close above or below my key level with enough draw to the next levels. Now, this candle's on its heaps ways down, coming down, coming down, coming down. This is 100%. You can't enter yet. You have to wait and be disciplined. This is how you catch the falling knife trade. So now I will show you what my thought process is of how to enter this trade. This trade comes down, immediately closes here with a body. This is a big, big red distribution candle. So in the process of that, you are expecting this to form a level. So it automatically, you're going to mark a line here. 100%, you're going to mark this line. And you can do it with a straight line like I did those white lines up above or not. It doesn't matter. So now you very clearly, immediately, as soon as this happens, you mark the bottom of the falling candle, right? Now you have, in real time, the first level of retracement. This candle comes back up. This candle now comes back up. Green candle comes up, it retests this area here, takes out the bottom of the swing point, closes below. This is a weak candle. Now this candle here, adjust the support to the bottom of the green body and no longer using the red one. Now this candle comes up, it tests the same area, the important part of this analogy that I want to show you guys. And this does not have to happen, but this is a really good element that is going to continue down. This candle comes down, red, you had marked the bottom of it, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it with another white line so it'll be a little bit clearer for us to see. And we're going to get rid of this blue one. So originally we had it marked there. Then the green body opens here. So now we'll adjust that little gap down and firm up our level. It doesn't make much of a difference, but for explanation purposes, I do think it's important that we cover that. So now we have our level, new support, 655.95. And this is, in my opinion, the most important part of what's happening right here. This candle tells the story. So this is retracing. It comes up, it goes into the bodies. It goes into the bodies. This candle comes back down, closes weak, showing continued down pressure. It's not reversing yet. Now, this candle closes, gaps down a little tiny bit here, not a huge deal. Takes out this wick, even though it's just a little bit. So 656.39 to 656.40, 1 penny. But now this formed a lower high than this. Now this candle here gets very heavy with the selling pressure and it closes below this new level. This candle closes firm. It takes out the new support. Falling knife, distribution candle takes it out. Bam, stops. Retest. This upper area here never breaks structure. Comes back down. We adjusted our support in real time. Boom, entry right here. This is your entry at this red candle close below this level at 655.95. And you get this giant distribution candle here. You ride this son of a bitch all the way down. And if you look closely, this candle literally keeps going down here and going down here and going down here all the way to the bottom of this wick. So this candle literally goes from 655.90 all the way down to 654.57. That's more than a $1 move. If you're using contracts with a delta of about 0.33 to 0.35 on SPY, you're in this with 100 contracts. This trade approximately makes you $3,800 in one swift move, catching a fallen knife on a retest of new support in real time. This also makes this really special is you see this wick here, this new support that we had established at 655.95, this candle takes that level out as well. So this bottom of this wick is also taken out by the close of this red candle and allowing that to keep going down, and you get a giant full trade on that. That is the best example of how to catch a falling knife that I can show you. And this just happened yesterday. So if you have a little bit of patience and a little bit of discipline, it will give you the opportunity to enter on a massive sell-off like that. So if you're interested in how I trade and you want to learn from me, please click the link below. Plenty of sessions of this, lots of trading that we do on a regular basis. There's literally 9 sessions a week for live trading. Plenty of coaches, help all around the time today from multiple different coaches of how to trade everything from options to futures to currency, the whole bit. It's inside the program. Click the link below and looking forward to meeting you guys soon.